What's up, Sheri? Good to see you, man. Been a minute.
Yo, what's up?
Ready for this game? We got a good one ahead of us. It's the top two teams
We are.
in the conference. They're
Mhm.
they're 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 vying for the top playoff spot, so this should definitely be a good one. I had the home team maybe about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. Very well coached. The coach more or less leaves us alone. He'll
Mhm.
ask a few questions, here and there, and usually kind of if he says we may have missed something, you know what? If you missed it, just own up to it and be honest. All right. Um,
Yep.
if he asked me a question about your call, I'll let him know. You'll be over here to answer it. I'm not going to answer a question, even if I know the answer. I'm not going to give him. I'm not going to give him the answer because God forbid I say something and then he asks you the same question. Then he's going to divide and conquer. All right. So and I have no problem with you doing the same thing. If one of the coaches say, hey, why did he call that? Coach, he'll be over
Mhm.
here in a second. You know what? He'll explain it to you. You can ask him and he'll explain it to you when he gets over here. 9 times out of
Okay.
10, when we say that to them anyway, they forget to ask, and when we move on,
Mhm.
and that's the biggest thing. So now
Mhm.
now we know in New York State high school girls basketball we play NCAA rules, which we are both well versed at.
Yeah.
One of the things we don't have to worry about is our RA. So we're obviously not going to speak about that. If the player is legal, no matter where she is on the court, if she's legal, she established, she takes the contact, it's got to be an offensive foul. If
Mhm.
she's not legal, then it's got to be a blocking foul. We don't have the RA. We don't have to bring into this equation. Our points of emphasis: ball handler, dribbler stuff. All right, one hand, one touch. That's it. Once they get that, that's it. No more. Second one, whether it's multiple, whether it's quick, we got to put a whistle on it. The home coach will be expecting those calls, to be honest, because he has a really good guard and he likes to let her go. Arm bars got to be automatic on the BHD. As soon as it touches
Mhm.
that hip, got to put a whistle on it because these girls they can play, but they're not going to be playing through arm bars. They're not going to be able to do that.
Right.
Verticality. Let's make sure our defenders are vertical. They're allowed their spot on the floor all the way up to the roof, right, as far as they can jump. So let's make sure they're vertical. They stay vertical. The hardest thing to decipher is when we have that play when the defender is vertical. Is the contact causing her arms to come down, or is it her bringing her arms down?
Right. Right.
So with those plays, let's be patient. Um, Watch it start, develop, finish, then decide. If we feel it's the defender's arms coming down, then put a whistle on it. If not, then we move on and we say we say the contact was legal. Um,
Right. Well, let's also watch for the defender using her body as opposed
Absolutely,
to her arms, because that's what's
absolutely,
starting to happen now. Oh, my hands are straight up. My hands are straight
absolutely.
up, and they're bodying them up. So
Especially on the
yeah,
high
let's.
school levels, that's exactly what
Right.
they're always saying. My hands were straight up, ref. My hands were straight up. Yeah, but you're using your waist to displace,
Right.
and you can't use the waist to displace. Hey, I just made a
Right.
rhyme. How about that? All right, so we talked about ball handle dribbler. We talked about verticality and freedom of movement. Players got to be able to move on offense and defense. All right, we got to
Mhm.
allow our offensive players to cut without being pushed, rerouted, chucked, or held. We got to allow our defensive players to follow those offensive players without being pushed, held, rerouted, or anything like that. So there's got to be freedom of movement on both sides. Both teams got to be able to move to be able to play the game. Um,
Agreed.
bench decorum is a must. Like I mentioned, the home coach, he's pretty good. He controls his bench. Um, uh, I don't think I've ever heard him yell at me the few times I've had him. So again, he'll ask questions. Let's make sure we keep him in a box. All right. You and I both do college. We know the box was extended to 38 feet in college. However, it's still at 28 feet in high school. So let's make
Right.
sure we're aware of that, and we're if we see that coach wandering, we'll immediately brain fart and say, oh wait a minute, he can go 38 feet. Now there's only two of
Right.
us out there. He can only go 28 feet.
Let's be aware of this. The visiting coach, though, she can get out of hand. She is a screamer
Okay.
and a yeller.
Okay.
Okay. I had to tear up already this year.
Good to know.
And she just, every time down the court, it's a walk. That's a travel. That's a foul. That's a whatever. She just, every single play.
All right. Well, we
Um,
won't allow her to referee. We'll allow her to
ex-
coach. We won't allow her to
right.
referee. We both know, like I opened up. We know what they want. We know what's at stake here. At stake here. This is for them. Going forward to possibly solidify the number one seed in the conference. So
I understand that. And she's
we
going to be
she's going
Yeah.
to be extra. She's definitely going to be extra
Extra.
because of that.
Right.
And you know what? Maybe the home coach might be too. Who knows? But as long as
Right.
we're aware of that, and as long as we
Yeah.
let them know, look, we know what's at stake, and we're going to do the best possible job that we can do to
Right.
officiate this game.
Right.
All right.
Right. Okay. Great.
What else we got? We talked about bench decorum. We talked about BHD. We talked about verticality, rebounding. If that player is athletic enough to go straight up and down and has a player in front of him and get a rebound, let him get it.
Mhm.
All right.
Mhm.
Again, I don't know if there's a player on either team that's that athletic, but if they can do it, hey, this is a big game. You know, the adrenaline might start pumping and muscles might start going, and players may do things that they normally may not do.
Right.
If there's displacement on that rebound, then we got to get it. It's called boxing out, not backing out. Right. All the
Right.
coaches teach. Put your rear end in that opponent and push them out. That's not boxing out. That's backing out. And if we do that,
Right.
I know that's something that I got to get better at putting whistles on. So if we see that, we got to get it, and we got to get it on both ends. If we see it on
Agreed.
both ends.
Court coverage for 2-person, since we're kind of used to 3-person. We need to adjust a little bit. So
Absolutely.
trail lead, if I'm in the trail, you're in the lead. If the ball is on my side of the floor and it's going towards you, I will take it all the way in.
Okay.
Now, if I pass on it and you see something, by all means, take it.
Absolutely.
All right. But it just might be easier in a 2-person game to do that. I actually kind of like to cut the floor in half, but we can do it either way. I mean, I know that the lane is, the middle of the lane is kind of both of us.
Right.
So let's make sure we're covering that. In a 2-person, it's really hard, but we really need to stay off watching the other players. We both can't be watching the ball.
Right.
And that happens a lot at this level. So we need to make sure that one of us is watching off the ball when it's not in our area. All right. So as the trail, I'm going to be working the arc. So if the ball is going away from me, I will come all the way, almost to the middle of the court if I have to, and then I will back out as the ball comes back around.
Okay.
But I will be working the arc. Once it gets to that foul line extended and it goes down to you, I'm coming off of that and I'm looking in to the players on my side. I am not watching that ball.
Okay.
All right. So that's you.
And something I like to do in 2-person as the lead is I'll rotate. You know,
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? I'm not going to leave you over there with the ball and 8 players, and I got 2 players that just kind of
Right.
twiddling their thumbs.
Right.
There's nothing in our book that says in 2-person the lead can't rotate over. Right.
Right.
So
Right.
if you do see me come over, just know that once we start going the other way, I am going to go back to the other side. So there's no reason for you to cut
great.
across the court.
Great.
I do like to mention that because there were times where I did that and I didn't mention it, and my partner cut across the court going back down.
Right. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah, great. I kind of do the same thing as the lead. I'll come halfway over, but I am watching. I'm watching the post play.
Right.
I am not watching the ball if it's over there. I'm watching more post play because, like you said, there's 8 players over there and only 2 on the off ball. So I will do that, but I will come back.
Right.
I will come back before we go up the court.
Right. And if the ball does get kicked into the post, I think we both agree that if our lead does come over, one of us come over as the lead should referee that post matchup. All right.
Yes.
Even though it's technically quote unquote the trail's primary area,
yes.
the lead
yes.
should referee that post matchup, and the trail will default to referee everybody else.
Right. Agreed. And on rebounding, we really need to be watching the rebounders. We can't be watching the ball.
Right.
All right. That's super, super important. And I know you'll do that.
We know where the ball is.
We know where the ball. Right. Exactly. Full court press. As the new lead, need to stay up. Stay up to about half court, and then come up and get into the lead position as the ball is coming up the court. But don't leave the new trail, with everybody, the full court. So
never
stay up on.
Feet. We should never be 94 for, I guess in high school, 84 feet apart. Right. That's how I learned it. Never 84. Don't ever be 84 feet apart from your partner. There's no reason.
Right. Well, it's 94 in high school too.
Oh,
they should be anyway.
Some
of these gyms, however,
yeah.
could be smaller. Right. But anyway, yeah, that'd be great.
We have our new terminologies.
Yes.
Unsportsmanlike is now an intentional foul.
Yep.
That was the terminology change. Our penalties changed for our unsportsmanlike, disqualifying, and technical fouls.
Yes.
It's all 2 shots in the ball at the division line. Administrative technical fouls all go to point of interruption unless it's an
Mhm.
excessive timeout. The
Mhm.
penalty is 2 shots, and the team loses possession of the ball. And
Correct.
we inbound the ball at the spot closest to where the timeout was called. All right, so
Correct.
we don't go to division line, we don't go to end line, wherever that timeout was called, that excessive timeout was called. That's where we're going to resume play after the free throws are shot.
Yes.
The team does earn the right to take and use the timeout due to the technical foul. So they buy themselves a timeout, and it costs them
Yes.
it costs them a technical foul and 2 free throws.
Yes. Agreed.
What else? Eye contact. Let's make sure we have 5 and 5. Remember, this
Mhm.
is a high school game. Sometimes the kids fall asleep. They don't pay attention. They don't tell
Mhm.
what kid, who was supposed to come out. So let's make sure we got 5 white and 5 blue at all times.
Yep. Let's make yes, exactly.
Speaking of that, we have the new substitution rule as well. Substitutes are allowed in if we're shooting free throws. Substitutes are allowed in before the first or after the final made free throw.
Mhm.
All right, so it's not if we have 3 free throws and that sub's not there on the
Correct.
first, then they can come in after the final successful free throw.
Yes. Agreed. The shot clock is 30. There's no 20-second shot clock in the
Right.
high school,
Shot
so
clock
that's
goes
one
back
of
to
the
30.
modified rules. Right.
Um,
Although, if there is a foul in the front court, where it comes in is either the 28-foot line on either side or the tick marks on the
right.
end line.
We have the throwing
Yeah.
spots. We do use the throwing spots
Throwing
in high
spot.
school.
Yep.
The table here was pretty good the last time I was here.
Mhm.
The shot clock operator was pretty good. There's maybe once or twice where we had to get them to reset when they didn't, or go back to where it was when they did reset. So let's make sure we're keeping an eye on that on the shot clock. Let's make sure we're keeping an eye on that the clock starts and stops when it's supposed to. I'm not sure. This is a big game. They may put somebody who they feel is experienced on the clock just to make sure that they don't have any issues.
Mhm.
The coach really does care like that. So hopefully we will have a good table today. Remember, they are a part of our crew, so if we need their assistance, we can go over to them and ask them
Mhm.
for assistance on who fouled or what player or something to that effect. I did have a situation a couple weeks ago where we had a foul in the backcourt and we lost our shooter, and the shooting team knew it. And what do? They sent the best free throw shooter to the free throw line. Thankfully,
Right.
he only hit 1 out of 2. At halftime, our table crew happened to come in, and that's when the light bulb came on. And I asked the guy at the table. I said, "Did we get the free throw shooter?" And he said, "No." And that's when the light
Mm.
bulb came on, and I was like, "We could have went to you and asked you guys for help." And I was like, and it totally slipped my mind.
Yeah.
So let's remember, the table is part of our crew. If we do need them,
Correct.
we can lean on them.
Correct. Okay. Great.
What
Great.
else?
Also, for the shot clock person, there's 3 questions I like to ask them when I go over to the table about when the clock starts and when the shot clock starts.
Yep.
So I always ask them on a jump ball, when does the clock shot start? When the
I remember you doing that the last time we worked together, so I definitely took notes on
right,
that, and I've been doing it ever
right,
since.
right. So on the shot clock, on a rebound, and on a throw-in.
Okay.
All right, and they usually get 2 out of 3. They don't know that when it's a throw-in, that when it's touched by anybody, the shot clock should start because we already have team possession.
Right.
They think when it's in possession.
Right.
So we need to make sure that they understand that.
Okay.
And on the rebound, we need to make sure that it's just because it's tapped, that the shot clock starts. That's not true. That needs to be possession. So I like to ask that shot clock person those 3 questions. So
Okay.
just something I learned a while ago.
Okay.
All right. All right. I
So,
think we're going to do well.
Yeah. One more thing I want to talk about. The home team does have one problem child. Fortunately,
Okay.
she's not a starter.
Mhm.
She comes in sporadically.
Mhm.
She is number 43.
Okay.
And she could be a problem child. So,
Okay.
she's that player that comes in and gets the hard foul, or comes in and tries to start, talking trash to get their best player out of their game.
Okay.
So when she does come into the game, let's make sure we're aware of it.
Okay.
Especially off the ball, if she's in your area and off the ball. Obviously, we have to focus on everybody, but try to at least keep one eye on her at all times,
Okay.
to make sure she doesn't do anything that we may miss.
Okay.
Other than that, the other kids on the home team are really good. They usually don't question anything. They'll get frustrated as any player might, in certain situations, but they're pretty good. They usually let their coach, fight their battles for them, and he does a
Okay.
great job at it. So,
All right.
but other than
Sounds
that,
good.
let's have fun.
All right.
All
Let's
right,
have fun.
all right. We got about
Let's
10
do
more
it.
minutes or so. So hydrate, stretch, and let's go.
Spark it up.
All right.